5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're live with Neve.
All right. What the hell is uh huh, I don't know what's happening here, people. It's disappeared. Hold on a moment. In the name of God, at the stage, I should be here. I know what's going on. Ha 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 ha! Had you fooled, didn't I? Thought we weren't going to get on the air, didn't you? Nah, there's no such luck on this Friday. I'm here with my posse of great minds. I've got the incredible Mandy Shee, and we have the amazing Bill Puig, master of the bass. And we like him. He has a personality unlike most bass players. Now, I always have to get in my bass player jokes when I have one on the show. He's a good sport about it. So, good afternoon. It's Friday, October 18th. Can you believe we are this close to Christmas? God almighty, and Hanukkah and whatever you do, Kwanzaa, any of the assorted holidays during the holiday season, as they call it. I have a call from potential spam. I want to start by saying, I don't know how many people out there, if you guys get these weird phone calls, and it says something, it's a text rather, and I'm going to read you one I got, just right here. Now, I find this kind of curious, and I'm going to ask you guys, when you can't find somebody's name, but you find a number, I usually remember who it is from looking at the number, even if I didn't write it down. But apparently, like this one, that's What Are You Doing? I just got another one. I want to find the ones I've already replied to. The other day I had one, and let's see this one. Okay, here it goes. All right. This is a simple start. This is just a call. Hello, can I talk to you about a job? How did you get my phone number? I'm Julia. We are currently offering an online e-commerce program that allows remote part-time work with flexible working hours, blah, 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 blah. You can use this in your free time every day to increase profits and increase extra income. The salary is $800 to $300, better than you do in a dime store massage parlor, but the basic hourly wage is not less than $25 fucking dollars. You didn't answer my question. Sorry, I apologize if I have disturbed you in any way. We obtained your contact information through recruitment databases. Okay, they give me the job requirements. Let's see, I don't have to be anything other than a minimum age of 23, breathe, have a pulse, and be stupid enough to sign up for this bullshit. So then I write, does this involve you sending me some checks and then I deposit them and forward them to your company agent? And they write, they don't answer it. And they write, if you're interested in meet the above criteria, a manager from USA company will call you and discuss salary and position details. Sorry, can you tell me, do you have it? Do you meet the requirements? I write back, I asked you, does it involve sending checks to people, having me deposit it, and sending it to one of your colleagues? I meet all your requirements, but you're not answering my questions. It's quiet for a while, and they said, are you still interested? And I wrote, well, I've seen this scam before, and I've already sent your info to the FBI, and I hope you have a great day. And so that was that. Haven't heard back from those two. I have another one that Oh, here it is. Now this is ridiculously sick, and if anybody's easily offended, please watch because you'll enjoy this. It's guaranteed to offend and annoy a certain percentage of the audience. Okay, I'm going to read this. I'm going to see if you can see it at all. Yeah, there you can see the chicken fucker. Pardon me. We don't normally have chicken plukers on the show, but I was a little weak on material this week, so here you go, peeps. Hey, friend, what are you doing? And then I write, I'm playing with my pet chicken while eating liverwurst. What are you doing? Is this Kamala? Then I post a picture, and it says here, fake asylum seeker is sentenced to 3 years in prison for sexually abusing chickens. And so, I kid you not, this is the chicken pluker. If you've seen him in your neighborhood, people, please call somebody. I don't know who, but call someone. I don't know what he gets down with the chicken thing, but don't trust me. So after we get through that part, hold on, we're done with the picture. And I said, are you calling about the chicken guy? After I post this. And she writes, first she writes, are you Natalia? Oh, I'm Natalia Christine. Are you Sarah? And I said, are you calling Sarah? Yes. Well, she's trying to get this chicken guy to let go of this chicken. It just bit the hell out of her breast, and she's screaming and chasing the bastard down the street. The chicken man is screaming in anguish. Sarah kicked him in the ass. He bit her on the ass cheek. This is the weirdest day I've ever had all month. I'll tell you, you got to call. I'll have her call you when she gets done at the hospital. I'm sorry. I know this is really ridiculous, and I'm not acting my age at all when I put stuff like this on at all. But sometimes the absurdity of these calls. Have you ever left a message to someone? Hey, I can't remember who this is. Who is this? I'd feel like too much of a dumbass. I would never admit that to people that I forgot their fucking phone number, you know?
Yeah, first off.
Anyhow, I rest my case. Let's see, we have some comments here already. Hey, Tracy Bickford was here. Oh, Rick's saying hi, but I don't see Tracy. Hey, Rick.
Hey, Rick. What's up?
How you doing, buddy?
What up?
We were talking about the chicken pluker, so I hope you got that skit, which will probably get me some.
Yes.
Hey, I didn't have a great bit of material this morning, so
Why would
I was bored.
Men are men and chickens are nervous.
You know it. I mean, you ever notice when they see men, they always scurry off to the corner?
Well,
I don't know. My chickens never did that. I fed them. I hate chickens, though, by the way. If ever your kids, Bill, I know you don't have to worry about it, but Mandy, you have a young man. One day he might say, I just want one chicken, Mom. It'll end up in the bathtub, and then you'll have chaos and shit and more shit.
No, that's not really going to happen.
Yeah, good. I was just
yeah,
as your elder brother. I was going to go. If the kid asks for a chicken,
I have real life problems other than chickens in my bathtub.
Chickens.
We're not going to worry about chickens in my bathtub.
We have a little time to kill. I'm going to tell you a brief chicken story. Bill, have you ever had chickens in your neighborhood or in your house or
Not
anywhere
in my
near you?
house. I used to live in a neighborhood where one of my neighbors down the street had a chicken.
Okay, so you know what they're all about. I was a young guy, and I lived near a feed store in Florida. My kids were about, 7 and 9, and they go in the feed store with me, and they're going nuts. It's like they want a chicken. They had thousands of them and rats. So I'm like, go and pick a chicken, each of you. I throw it in a cage. Not a cage, a big aquarium out on my front porch, and threw them in there, and it was chaos. These things, they multiply. It's not good. So we ended up with about 4 chickens, and one of the chickens ran off, but there was 3 there that grew to full age, maturity, we'll say. I'd come home from the gig one night, and I see on my beautiful porch, which I had built that year for like 15 grand in the sweat and hands-on labor, building the posts, running the trusses. I busted my ass, and I was very proud of it. I had painted the deck. It was looking killer until we got the chickens and they became mature. Then they start to shit on the patio.
Mm-hmm.
outside there. But eventually they made their way onto this porch, and I'm going nuts. So one night I come home from a gig, 2 or 3 in the morning, and I walk up, and these 3 chickens are sitting on the rail of this porch I've built. I'm like, motherfucker, are these chickens, you know? Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking, what do I do with them? Because if I kill them, you know, it's going to be a problem. The girls are going to be like, where are the chickens? So here's the story. I go out, I grab a garbage can, and I bring it up on the porch, and I grab Mr. Cheap Cheap, toss his ass in the bucket, put the lid on it. Then I get whatever the other one's name was, I drag him out, throw him in there. Then I get the third one, and I throw him in the box. It just so happens that around the corner from my house, there's a chicken farm. Not far, like a mile down the street. So my kids used to drive by and see all the chickens, and I told them it was like a chicken farm and retirement community. So at 3 in the morning or so, I'm drunk as a skunk, and I've got this bucket of chicken in the front seat of my big-ass van. And I drive down the street, and I'm looking around. Nobody's out here. I stop, and I'm cracking up because I'm dying with laughter. And I pick up the thing, and I go to climb out of the van, but I realized too late that I hadn't taken the van and put it in park. So the van starts to roll forward, and I got these chickens, and I'm like, oh, fuck! I'm trying to grab it, and the chickens are squeaking and screeching. And I stop the van, put it in park, jump out with these fuckers. Then I grab one out. The goddamn thing just bloodies my arm, man. It scratched up my arm bad. And I'm like, fuck! And I throw it over the fence. And then I'm realizing these people are going to hear me out in their yard, and they're going to come out with a shotgun thinking I'm there to steal or do carnal knowledge of their chicken. I've never heard of such a thing at that point in my life. I just thought they were too nasty that anybody would want to do some horrendous deed with it. It's just like, get the fuck out of here. I'm from New York, you know, we don't do that shit up here. If we do, we don't tell anybody about it. So the third one goes over the fence. I drive home, and guys, I couldn't stop laughing for like 2 days every time I thought about it. And realizing that I had my life in my hands with these hillbillies down in Florida. But my kids the next morning, they go to church with their mom, and they, what am I saying? The kids are like, where the hell is Mr. Cheap Cheap? And Biddy, and I don't remember, there's 3 of them at that point. To answer your question, Rick, they did have a rooster. We had a male one, and they were fucking, and actually at one point we had 2 males, and I had to get rid of one, because he would just henpeck the shit out of the other one. Constantly chasing that bastard down. The other one lived in a state of perpetual fear, would cower in the bushes away from that fucker. And he would run across and start pecking and attacking the poor beast. So I took the poor wimpy chicken and also dropped him off at the chicken farm down the road. But my daughters were like, well, where are they? And I said, well, they're at the beautiful chicken farm and retirement home around the corner. And every time we go by, you can wave at them. And I can't tell you how glad I was to get rid of those chickens. I never had to get chicken shit up off the porch ever again.
Yeah.
And that is the tale of chickens. So anybody out there, if you think you need to have chickens, trust me, you don't want them. If you have kids and somebody offers you chickens, move. Just said.
Throwing the chickens in the bucket, they probably thought you were Colonel Sanders or something.
Yeah, that's what
absolutely.
I thought.
I had the suit for it, you know. My girlfriend and I used to like to try different things, you know. Come here, play Colonel Sanders and feed me chicken. I have to always come up with something out of the bizarre. I don't know. I'm bored. You know, it's Friday. I feel really good. How about you guys? What are you doing this weekend? Anything good with this fine weather, or just recovering? How about it, Mandy? You're on deck.
Me? You're asking me first. I still haven't even comprehended the week I've had, to be honest with you.
Gotcha.
I just got home a little while ago, and I'm like, wow. I'm not even like centered, you know. And I think everyone in their life comes to a point where you really feel like you're being tested, you know, and you really say to yourself, now, do I believe that I am part of the solution or part of the problem? Am I gonna be wimpy about it, or am I gonna double down? You know, and all these things like come in your head, and you're like, you know, and it's like, right now, every aspect of my life, that's what's happening, like all at once. So I'm just like, bam, bam, bam. So this week, I'm just like, help me. So, like, for me, what I will be doing this weekend is trying to find inner peace. I'm starting
Good.
with finding the inner peace, if it takes me tonight and tomorrow, and then I do stuff, then fine. If it takes longer, then fine, because man, oh man, things are about to get busy, and it's like when you have busy times, you want to make sure that in the slow times, you are letting yourself rest,
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
harder and harder when you get the real intensity stuff going on to keep that middle baseline where you're not too up or too down. That is for me because
Yeah.
I'm like, all over the map, and
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
stability, and it's like today before the show started. I had everything running before the last show ended. I had all the invites made and I had them ready to send to you. They've changed StreamYard slightly, and I can have a reusable lab, so to speak.
Oh, that's
And
nice. Oh, that's great.
it, yeah,
And you
so
don't
I can
have to
just take
redo
like
the
this
link all the
morning's.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the link's going to be the same, and it just
Nice.
because it's already being recorded, and I recorded it like this show. I'm recording it on my hard drive, but I'm not going to do any more than 2 because I don't want to fill my hard drive up on this computer. I'm going to get another hard drive, put all of the shows, and we're going to take 300. There's like 300 shows up in the cloud with them. I'm going to pull them all down, put them on a 5 terabyte drive or whatever, and stop paying for all this storage because it's getting expensive. And
Yeah, I believe it.
but I'm going to be screwing around with computer stuff this weekend. But I haven't had a week like yours. I've had a very chill week. The
Oh,
guys are
nice.
here working on my house.
Excellent.
I'll send you a link, guys. It's amazing. They tore down this enormous, like 15 by 50 deck on the side of my house. It was all rotted and screwed up, and now they're rebuilding it. We're using the proper timbers as opposed to like 4x4s. It's 8x8s on concrete pillars, and they're doing a jam up job. It's just 2 guys really doing the majority of the work. And having worked with my hands and done that in my younger years, I have to say they're first rate. And I've got to get the general contractor's number just so I can clap my hand for them. They're busting ass, and they're friendly, and they're smart. They know what they're doing. And I always think I know everything. And I don't, but I know these guys are fucking great. I go out there and look at it. It's square and it's tight, and I don't have to do anything. I know they're doing it great. They care about it, what they're doing.
Nice.
And that's the most important thing in any job, I know you, Mandy, are like, I don't really care. But if you don't really get into your work, you're fucked. And as hard as it is, it's like playing gigs, man. I feel like death for a couple days sometimes. But I love every minute of it. And I love the downtime, too, just sitting there like a carcass. I'm in my cold, air-conditioned place. It's dim. Got a good movie. Maybe, smoke some little medicinal herbs. And life is good. Look out at the ocean. I mean, I don't know. Got to find your happiness where you get it, especially if you work hard. You got to play hard or recreate hard.
No, talking about the view you've got of the ocean, that deck will be really nice based on
Oh, yeah. And we're going to have
vantage point you've got.
Well, I'd like to have a little band party where several of my band friends come and we have a nice deck party, and I'll invite my neighbors, and we'll have a good time. I'll tell them,
Yeah, they'll
they
be
can
there
come
whether
up.
they want to or not,
Well, they will. They'll certainly. I have a small but very, very powerful PA.
Yeah.
You guys hear me all right, by the way? I'm just wanting to check because I hear you just fine, Neil, but Mandy, your volume's a little bit low.
Mine
Yeah,
is?
like my
You're
volume.
Here, I'll
good.
turn Mandy up.
Mine was a little bit low. Yeah, and yours is a little low, Bill. Yours is low to me too.
Okay, I'm going to crank you guys up. Hang tight. And I don't know if you can even change your mic settings on your guys.
Oh yeah, you could even change it. Oh, see, I could already tell the difference though.
Yes, because I just changed it up.
Yeah, like for sure.
Say something, Bill.
Oh, how's
Oh
it-
yeah.
Okay, cool.
That's the spot. That's the spot.
Every once in a
You
while,
got the
man.
spot.
Got to get it right
Do
there.
this for next time so we don't have to dial it in again.
Yeah.
That's right. You have the
That's
same
right.
thing. We'll
That's
have a
it.
well-oiled machine. I've also, one of the improvements, I've got almost everything done of our new intro. And you guys have
Hooray!
seen it because I did it before. And now I have to go in and lay in, instead of like my friend's ex-wife in the video with him at the
Uh-huh.
beginning of it, Chad, black guy up in, God, where is he? He's up in the coast, northeast,
Uh-huh.
where they burned the place down.
Rhode Island.
Salem?
Spokane. He's in Spokane. Yeah, Rhode Island.
It's
Rhode
spooky
Island, that's
season.
every Friday night, you know.
Woo!
Other than Block Island where they're having their mimosa on the terrace.
Oh my gosh. I played a festival in Block Island like a long time ago, and that was one of my most fun weekends ever with my band. Oh my goodness. You go
I
on the
bet. That
ferry
sounds
and then,
great.
you know,
Yeah,
and you know, you
yeah.
get put up in one of their like funny little hotel things, and it was
Absolutely.
awesome.
That is a nice place to visit. And I used to go up to Maine every summer, a similar kind of thing. My girlfriend's family had a cottage, and it was great fun. Every third week of August. And I was in sales at the time and had it rolling. And in the summertime in sales, with my brand, you don't get a lot of business because all the big people I would deal with, the C-suite and above, they're all out in Montauk, up in Maine at their fucking cabins. The family's up there for the month, and a lot of these guys would fly in and out. So I knew during the year that I better bust my ass in first quarter, get enough stuff that I could work and live through the summer and still have a good bit of money coming in, but I'd
Hmm.
kind of slack off. Like I took a vacation up there for 2 weeks one summer, 1 week another, and I learned that you really can take a pail out on the dock, hold it up, and when the lobster guys go by,
Mhm.
they show up. That guy waved at me. I couldn't believe it because I've heard these stories,
Uh-huh.
and there's video of it. I was like a 12-year-old kid. The
Mhm.
guy's heading towards me, and I get out with my girlfriend. I'm like, my money's in a big roll. Grab it all and bring it down here. It's up on a dresser. And she goes, why? And I said, because the fucking lobster boat's coming here. Please, hurry up. I'm way down this pier. Meantime, he's getting closer, and I'm getting excited. I'm like, all
Yeah,
right,
it's
I've
like the
been up
ice
here.
cream truck, except it's the
Yeah,
lobster
it
boat.
was. It
Yeah.
was badass. So the guy, he came up. He says, how many do you want? I'm like, I don't know. How much are they? He said, $5 a piece. They just came out of the water. I'm like, $5
That's
a piece?
awesome.
Give me $30 worth, you know? I don't have anything to hold them in, so I'm like, hold on, dude. Meantime, she's getting the money. I run up to the deck, and I'm like, what the fuck can I put them in? I grab up a garbage pail, dump the trash out. My girlfriend comes out. She's like, what are you doing dumping trash on the porch? I said, give me the money. I run down. I'm like, I'll explain later. I'll pick it up.
Litter
And I run
bug.
down, get these lobsters. It was awesome. It was awesome until time came to cook them, when everybody there looked at me like I was Dr. Mengele. They're like, well, are you going to kill them?
No,
Yeah,
I'm going to stare at them.
Yeah, I'm gonna
I'm
kill them and
I'm
eat their
like,
guts.
I felt like a
kill 'em and eat their
sovereign
guts.
citizen saying, no, I'm traveling. No, I'm just, I'm making my riposte for tonight. I don't know. We changed the
These
words.
are my
Does it
new
mean
nipple clamps.
Yeah, right, exactly. God, I love her, man. That's the best. That's great. You're well paired for this and well prepared.
You
I
know,
must
you
say.
can't unsee that once that's said.
That's it. She's sexually harassing us. That's it. It's, just I know bikers who used to do bobbing for apples in a bucket full of crabs.
Oh
Now
no!
that shit you want
that's-
to have a long nasty ass beard
Yeah,
if you
it
do
looks
it.
like.
I'm usually the guy who will jump into anything. I'm a typical drummer, and back when I was younger, the guys would be like, "Hey, they're bobbing for fucking apples in the lobster pen." Well, these guys were all from down south, and I went, "What are they doing?" And I'm thinking in my head, they got fucking lobsters or crabs is what they had. Excuse me. The fucking crabs, man, were like Maryland blue. I'm thinking taking the whole bucket home with me and boiling those bastards. But I just stood back and went, I don't think I'm going to do that.
Oh.
The first guy came out with one hanging off his nose. It was funny as shit watching him do a jig with this. It was like, oh my God, it was out of fear and loathing, for Christ's sakes. I just was like, what am I doing here with these people? But I was playing a biker gig, and as we know, bikers treat their entertainment first class and always I've never been unpaid by a biker gig that I was told, here's what you get. They'd always give us lots of party favors and all kinds of
Yeah, this
mysterious
is
fun.
true.
And if like they were great too. They'd go, "Hey, you come here, dumbass. You too." And they both everybody looks. They'd be like, "All of you, come over here." They'd have them moving our gear in. It was great. You know, at the end of the night, same shit. These guys, they'd roust up a bunch of big burly guys, and they'd hustle it out. It was they're great people. I don't know. Have you your experiences? I can tell, Mandy. You've played some biker gigs,
Oh,
and
there were a bunch of bikers at that gig you played with us. You
oh yeah,
know,
well
like
those guys were mild
yeah,
and tame because we were at the Elks
yeah,
Club, but they're
yeah,
great fun. Bikers
but
are always
yeah,
good guys.
yeah,
You
always,
know,
always, yeah. That's when when Twisted Ginger first started. A lot of our first gigs were biker gigs, and
hmm
that was great, and we still have friends from them because it's like, you know, loyalty's a thing, you know.
loyalty is a big thing, and
Yeah.
I'll tell you, we played for the Outlaws Motorcycle Club in Florida, which is a big, dangerous gang, supposedly,
Hmm.
allegedly, we'll say. And I did some work in the recording studio on. They had a multi-jurisdictional case. My friend's an attorney, and I had to do copies and dubs for all of the defendants, all of the lawyers on both sides, the defense and prosecution, in a multi-state, multi-jurisdictional case. And I'll just say this. I was listening to it and I called my lawyer friend and I said, I got to send you these because I knew who his client was. I'm like thinking in my head, man, this guy is so guilty. It's not even funny. The whole thing was a big mess. And those guys, a lot of them got convicted and a lot of them didn't. But it was one of those crazy brushes with something. But for months, I was just overwhelmed doing these copies of these tapes, and the first copy you'd have to listen to it and make sure it's perfect. Drove me crazy. It was like studio work. It's not fun. It's not like working on a record. I'm sitting there trying to read a transcript that somebody had made. Oh, it was hellish. But
Yeah.
the bikers involved that I played with were none of those guys. I mean, they may have been associates, but they weren't listed in any of the stuff I was working on. And it was pretty weird, but the bike clubs we'd play in, here's where I was going with this. They had a big petrol, diesel. They had a huge diesel tank out behind this convenience store they bought. They turned it into a bar called the Burnout Zone on Highway
That's
41.
awesome.
And it didn't have a license. It didn't have electricity other than with a generator they got from the carnival. One time we're playing in there, and I'm going to tell you guys, when you're playing in a full biker bar, and then they bring two Harleys in for Born to Be Wild, they put the tire against the front of the bar, and then they rev it up and spin the tires so the whole bar fills with fetid smoke and fucking fire. And then while this was
Nice.
going on, we're playing Get Your Motor Running on the highway. Looking for adventure, and whatever goes my way. We're like pounding it out, and then all of a sudden the generator fucking runs out of diesel. It just went. I'm still playing for a brief second. Everybody's looking at me, and the bikers are still
But
revving because
still.
they can't hear nothing. It was just like I was in Dante's third inferno of hell.
Yeah,
It was really crazy stuff. But they were great guys, and I played jokes on my band, like my guitar player comes in one night, and I told the biker who was paying us, I said, why don't you go over and sit down with, that's our guitarist, Stevie, over there. I said, why don't you go over there and just bust on his chops, tell him, I heard you don't like, bikers and you don't think we pay good. And then he goes over there, and this dude's name was Tonka. He was as wide as a freaking house. In short, on me, he came up to like my nose. He was a big, strong guy. He was like an iron worker or something. So he was like a big monkey man. Plus he's just big. And poor Steve is sitting there, and Tonka's like, so what do you say there? I hear you don't like bikers. You think we don't pay on time, huh? He was just like wilted away. And then he saw the rest of us across the table going, gotcha. And he was so pissed. Of course, we were evil. We were young men. And It was sort of more like Lord of the Flies in our dressing room than it was any kind of kindness. Half the band hated each other. Awful situations. I was young, and you just end up with a bunch of guys that didn't have classes yet and how to be charming and debonair and, talk softly and carry a big stick in the band. There's all kinds of ways we all know of how to keep a band together. And my theory is pay everybody good, pay everybody fairly, treat everybody like a human being, and have fun. If you got one or two turds in the band who just don't have fun and they make everybody else not have fun, bye-bye. We're going to drop you off here in Boise. Detroit is that way, and LA is that way. So, see ya.
That's about what you have to do. I mean, if somebody's in a band and they're not willing to play well with others, then
they bring the morale down so bad. It gets everybody all tense and fucked up at practice, and then we find ourselves in the parking lot trying to go, I love the guy, but he's fucking dick. His playing's great, and I still would take somebody who's less polished, because we can get him polished if you go out. If somebody's a little bit on the edge and I have to choose between the really great guy with a dick attitude and the guy with the great attitude and just needs a little work, maybe a little mentoring, fucking hey, I'm taking the guy who's got some promise. Because if you have a hard head, you can't talk and have a musical discussion where you just chill and go, I think this is what we're missing here, listen to it again.
Not at all.
Here's what I want to do, or sing them a harmony or whatever. I tend to play well with others, so I don't, I make a lot of jokes about being a dick, but it's really all it is.
No,
is jokes.
being nice that's an important thing. It's like I'm one of those people that I would literally rather stay home than play a gig with assholes. I really would at this point in my life.
Yes.
Because it ruins one of the most beautiful things ever, and it's just, it's,
And if it's feeling bad more than one gig, if you see a 2 month pattern, the guy's got to go. But I've found, if you have a good core of band members, we all feel it. It's just a feeling in the air when somebody's playing. We've all probably felt when we've gone to an audition a couple times where you just smoked it and you walked in and you're like in your head going, I fucking nailed this, and it's going to be great because the people are all really good. And
well, I think too. I would hope that that people, like a lot of musicians, would get to a certain level that a lot of the really good musicians are actually very nice.
I think most of the really, since I was a kid, all the really good people I meet are great people. I meet very few assholes.
Yeah, and usually I find that the musicians who are maybe more hobbyists or posers, they tend to have more of that negative stuff. And sometimes it's hard to tell, because when you're nice, you want to give someone the benefit of the doubt, right?
But then 2 weeks later, if I felt bad and said something like we auditioned somebody, and I was just like, I don't know, man. Maybe we should keep looking and check him out a little more before we commit. Have him back for another rehearsal before we dive in. And my instincts were right. We ended up getting rid of the guy. This is also when I was a young man, and he didn't get a stick upside the head, so he was okay. Back in those days, I had a bass player who was just he's a stone in the shoe, and we were constantly correcting him. And here was his problem. He would jump on the mic on lines he doesn't sing, and then jump in. And if it was like on Mama's all right, Daddy's all right, I just get a little weird. Well, we had a 3-part harmony between the other guys in the band that we'd been worked on for months and years, and we had it sounded like fucking Cheap Trick. Except for him. He jumps up on the mic and starts wailing in fucking God knows what key.
That's annoying.
And me and Dave looked at each other, and the guitar player were like, what the hell is he doing? And he had gotten mouthy, so what happened was, I looked at him and went, hey, quit singing, motherfucker. Smiling, so nobody in the audience will know. I just told him to fuck off. And he looks at me and he gave me the wrong answer, man. I was like 29 years old. He goes, I looked at him, I was like, wrong answer, dude. Whip! So I whipped this stick at him, and unfortunately, it hit his stick for his head. It slowed velocity. So it goes, kaboosh! And then it rocketed into the front row. And somebody grabbed it, which was pissing me off, because Cheaps were not cheap back then. And he just was like, ah. He looked at me and he goes, fuck you, Neil. And he just walked off stage. And people in the audience started clapping. It was terrible. He just got his stuff, pulled it out. He was using our bass amp and he just left. And then I had money for him. So I called him the next day to apologize and give him his money. And he wouldn't talk to me. And it was sad because hours turned into days. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. Months turned into a year. About a year later, he rings me up out of the blue. And I felt bad about the whole thing by that time, real bad. That I couldn't get a hold of him and give him money. And I just felt bad for whipping a stick at him. And I wanted to apologize. So I said that. He goes, I don't want to talk to you. I'll never play with you again. And I said, that's okay. I said, you were really being a jerk, man. You can't just jump on our vocals. And you're the odd guy out. You don't even know what the hell we're doing. And you couldn't hear yourself. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. If you heard what you were doing, you would know why you got hit with a stick. Anyway, that was the last time I saw him. I put the money in the mailbox for him. I gave him an extra 50 for his trouble. And I got to tell you, I'm thankful I've never seen him again. But he was the most uptight. If you put a piece of charcoal up his butt, he would come out a diamond in an hour. He was always just so rigid. And the whole band felt the same way. That was the accumulation. What was that?
Is he a jeweler?
No, I forget what he did in his real life.
Because that'd be really convenient.
You know what? He was a malcontent. If I saw him on the Moody Loners fan club guy who hangs around with Ted Kaczynski and thinks he's his hero, he might have a manifesto is what I'm trying to say. The guy is unbalanced and you never know. He's somewhere he's going, I'm not unbalanced. I got a manifesto. If you're out there watching, don't be David Lee Chapman, dude. We don't need any of that shit going on. I'm sorry. It's a wicked world, but he was a bass player. I'm sorry, people.
I know you were going to repeat that.
I don't. This poor guy. People know that I love bass players. I love Bill. He's a great, tremendous player. I have to poke fun at somebody. It's Friday, man. It's a good thing I'm not drinking. I'm not throwing any sticks at anybody. All right. So, what are you doing this weekend, Bill? Now that we've covered our twisted Saturnalia.
Well, I started the weekend this afternoon by putting together a new computer for my daughter. That's done.
Nice.
I'm going to spend some time this evening just relaxing, probably watching the baseball playoffs.
Excellent.
We have a band rehearsal on Sunday that we're getting ready for. We have
nice.
A couple of theater gigs in the month of November. We mentioned the one this morning, Neil, that is taking place at the Strand in a few weeks. Mm-hmm. We have another one in South Jersey near Atlantic City at the Landis Theater in Vineland just before Thanksgiving. So those shows are.
Have you played there before in Vineland?
No, I have not. I've seen shows there, but I've never played there.
Gotcha. I've never seen the venue, but I've heard it's nice.
It's a terrific venue. It's about a 550, 600 seat theater. The guy who runs it actually is an Emmy Award winner who is a specialist in both video and sound technology.
I bet it's unreal then. He's got a great PA.
Place. He's a little bit protective about how things run there. Legion of Prague does our own videos that we use as backdrop for our shows. When we played at the Vogel a few weeks ago, we had video going the entire night behind the band.
Great.
I told the owner at the Landis that we did that, and he said, "No, you're not doing that here." I said, "Come again? I would think you'd want us to bring our video." And he said, "You don't understand. We do it better than anyone else here. Trust me on this. You're going to have great visuals. You won't have to worry about a thing." And I said, "Alrighty then."
That's what it is. Then that's what it is.
And how did it look?
Well, I haven't seen it yet, but I've seen it for
find out.
You've seen other bands though.
And what he's done for other bands is pretty remarkable.
Yeah. So yeah.
So we will see. Hopefully someone will take good video of us that night.
Nice. Yeah.
Maybe somebody will ride along. We'll see. That's Thanksgiving Day?
It's not Thanksgiving Day. It's the Friday before Thanksgiving, the 22nd.
Gotcha. That's yeah, everybody that's ugly people's get laid night. Trust me. It's the night before Thanksgiving and people return to their hometowns all over America and see that funky bucktooth girl in the back row or the big bucktooth guy in class who was a nerd. He now owns a tech company, is worth millions, and the ladies all want to marry him. That's kind of what it's like. At any rate, I'm going to leave it at that. Today we've had a commercial-free show. Terrible thing. But that's okay, people who've got commercials out there. You get them, you're on a discount rate right now, and several years passed, but I still run you guys because I love you. Like I said, I'm not in it for the money, obviously. Although it would be nice if we could get some. I am still looking for, I have a drumstick company that may want to be on as a sponsor.
Oh yeah? Is it the
We'll
brand
see.
of
I'm
stick
using
that
their
you threw at your
drumsticks.
friend? Fa-chow!
No, they're great sticks. They figured out a balance point on them.
Uh-huh.
Ideally, if I was involved, I'd say, let's sell the design to Ramo or Regal Tip or one of those companies and retire on a boat here in Highlands. You know, like something like that. But at any rate, you know, we're always in the quest for advertisers. The problem is bands don't really have the money. You know, everybody out there is scuffling unless they're a larger band. I've had some bands that I give them really, you know, cheap rates, and it works out for everybody. It's like I say, I've bought enough band ads in my life to go, I've been ripped off every way you could. Back when media was print, they'd stick it to you sometimes. They'd put you on fucking the back in a page where nobody's going to see you. I'd be like, hey, you know, I'll pay extra, but I went on the back cover. And then we got to be big enough of a band that we could afford $400 for the back of this Fish Wrapper music magazine, these rags. They're still around in great places to find gigs and venues, but they're the worst place to find musicians. I hate to say it, but all the posers go on those little rap mags, and you get these guys that call out, they have a Marshall stack and 5 guitars, and they come out and they play the guitar worse than I do, which is pretty sad because I'm a drummer and I can make fun of drummers too. We're not known for our guitarist prowess usually. Even Don Henley's not exactly knocking it out of the park. I mean, he's okay, but he's just a CGDA, you know, he's not. That's why he's got fucking Joe Walsh in the band anyway. You know? Anyway. So we've covered everything. The Al Smith dinner, any of you guys see any of that last night? Trump came in and he said, I was backstage and I saw Hillary. And as she walked by me, I was in front of her and she said, pardon me. And he goes, I looked at her and I said, I'm sorry, Hill, that's a little early. I'll have to wait till I get elected.
You first.
Yeah, that was great. It was like just such a show-stealing line. It was like, that would have made it better if they'd had a drummer doing circus drums, like when he did it. It would have made it so much more fun, wouldn't it? I could have been sitting there doing a real slow roll and a build-up. You know, it'd be great. It'd be like really fun, and it would add to the. You could have when something really fucked up was going on. You could have ding, 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 ding. I mean, I tell you, the political landscape is watching these people debate. I can't help but say this is the greatest and best our whole country has to offer. I mean, and then look at the people they bring along with them sometimes. Believe me, as much as I want the former president, to hopefully win, some of the people he brings along with him, there's always, you know, both parties have a big tent. And if they could just drop off the more odious and tedious ones, maybe they should start their own party. Because I know this, most people who are Republican or Democrat, I know, are pretty cool people. They're not this caricature that's made in the media. They're just like us sitting around. I don't consider myself any political wizard, you know. I'm just another hack on the street. I've got my 2 cents worth, you know, and everybody else out there does too. But I don't know. The political parties have turned me off the past 8 years of any enthusiasm for any of them. I feel like we elect them with high hopes, and they very rarely get. By the end of their term, everybody's forgotten all the things that were going to happen that were going to be so great. And I've always been disappointed, even with candidates I've voted for personally. By the end of the term, I'm like, it's like second day quarterbacking football, and I can't do that either very well. Um, but I do think both parties are full of assholes and that we have to purge them from the ranks. There's just too many fringe people who like to yell at each other rather than sit down and go, can we find one thing we can talk about tonight and solve an issue that affects everybody that can piss off this or that coalition in either party? I don't know. They're going to have to wait till I run for president.
It's so terrible in that regard. I mean, with all the...
the media makes it impossible to do, don't they?
They really do. The media have staked out the extremes on either end, and it just makes it very difficult to communicate.
It does, because what happens is the more crazy you are, the more media. It's like if it bleeds, it leads phenomenon. If you're a real psycho and you go on and say, I'm going to kill every dolphin in the ocean, I'm Neil and I'm running for office, I want your vote because I fucking hate dolphins. That's a pretty crazy thing that people would be like, I don't want to elect this guy. He wants to like kill dolphins. Everybody likes fucking Flipper. I'm sorry, I don't know. I'm looking out there to see if I see this.
And of course, everybody has a cell phone camera now. So God forbid you should say anything to anybody in jest, because once it's on the internet, it's out there forever. And who knows who's going to use it or how they're going to use it.
Oh, they can definitely. And I at times have thought of some of the topics we've talked about on the show, and it's all in fun. And anybody who ever would try to say that we're like evil or polemic about either side knows, if anybody knows the shows, they know I'm too disorganized.
They would have you hug for those.
Some people would love me, some people would hate me, but I don't think that whatever you think politically, peeps, I don't think that 50% of the people in America are stupid in either party. There's a big percentage of stupid people in both parties, and that's just the world, There's a lot of dumb people, folks. We've lived with them, we worked for them. Sometimes you have to, sometimes we all have to do what we have to do to pay the bills, and you have to work for assholes. But usually I've found when you meet politicians one-on-one, the real exceptional ones, you can tell. The ones who are like a used car sales guy are just full of shit, and they don't have any, they're just there to grift on it. And I don't like grifters, Just work, man, do your job. Get in there and take it as a privilege and make the country better.
Well, the thing that is really interesting, and tell me if you disagree, but the thing I've always noticed about the ones who are in the full of shit category is they're always on. They're always trying to sell the image, even when they don't have to, even when they are in a situation where they should really be trying to be themselves.
Yeah.
Like they don't know how.
They've bought the dream so thoroughly, and when they get done in a year, and their candidate wins and it goes to crap if it does, which happens. I remember the night Hillary didn't get elected. The next day, I was in New York at Javits Center where she was going to come through the glass ceiling. Hillary's the toughest, smartest woman in the world. She doesn't even go down and tell her people, sorry guys, we lost. We fought a good fight and I'll come back next year. She sends out her hack who goes down there to all the gals, all the Hillary women for Hillary. My God. There's some of those girls who are little la-di-da, the 80-year-old la-di-das dressed and naked, their breasts out. The crowd was wild. And all I can say is they got cadets that have come out. Oh, I'm sorry, Hillary is throwing shot glasses at Bill at the down the street.
From what I read, that's not too far wrong.
It isn't. I read that the Secret Service had concerns, for Christ's sakes. Not once, but several times, because they'd get into it. I have to laugh because I've never been in a relationship where we've thrown shit at each other. I've had some relationships where we screamed at each other pretty fucking till you're hoarse maybe, but never had anybody throw anything at me. And I've never been the kind of guy to start fights with anybody. I'm like, just back off, leave me alone. I would fight if somebody corners me, but I'm going to run first. I believe it's better to run and come back and fight another day, or make it to court and fight there. It's just better for you, but that's another topic. So do you have any prognostications, guys? Do you think the election is who do you think is gonna win? I'm not gonna bet you. Do you have any idea yet?
No, I don't really even pay attention, honestly. I
That's
hate to
cool.
be
I
like
mean,
that, but right now.
Andy's
It's
taking the high road, which is smart.
Yeah.
yeah. I just I almost don't want to know. When it's time for me to know,
I
I'll
got you. Yeah,
figure it
well, I
out.
get it. It's sort of like looking at the sonogram before the kids here.
Yeah, that's kind of my
I don't want to know it's
approach.
sex, man. I want to know the old-fashioned way. It's
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I don't know. We live in that age where we get overloaded with so much information. I mean, I
yeah.
don't know. There's nothing worse than watching a young kid at a Lamaze class, and I'm like an old guy, and there's all these young couples, and they're all sitting there. And I had a young wife. She's like 23, and I'm in the 40s. And she's sitting there watching all these other girls, and I'm going, "Well, I've been through this before. You got to start panting, honey." And everything was going okay till the second night, and they showed a video. I've been through it all. I can handle anything. And both of my wives, right in the middle of it, ended up having to have C-sections, unknown that was going to happen. Well, at the time, I worked in veterinary medicine, so I kept standing up and checking over the drape. And the doctor kept going, "Will you sit down, please, Mr. Van Erdy?" I'm like, I work at a veterinary clinic. I had my arm up a cow's ass last week. And my wife's there. She goes, "You're comparing me to a cow?" I said, "No, not at all." And the doctor's like, "People pass out in here." I said, "I'm not going to pass out. I'm just here to keep you guys entertained." So I'm making jokes, and I don't know what my daughter's going to be. And my wife was all whacked out on whatever they had her on, and she, when the baby came out, I just freaked. I went, "Holy shit, she's a redhead! Holy fuck!" I thought for sure my Neanderthal bloodline would have made her dark skinned and haired. But no, and my other daughter looks much more like me. She has dark hair. My kids are basically a blend of me and my wife. And, beautiful kids. What can I tell you? Man, they're good looking kids. Smart. I love it. And my son is by my child bride, and he's 6'4", and I call him sir most of the time. He's a big kid, and he's really a great kid. I don't have to have any, he's just, he doesn't always get my sense of humor, I think, but I'm working on it. He's a great kid. And I always warn him, he's so big. I just tell him, just be like you are, calm and chill. And, there's a lot of jerks out there who'll go up to big people and try and provoke them. I said, just because you know how to defend yourself doesn't mean you have to, try and avoid that kind of thing. He said to me then, "Oh, it happened in high school a couple times, Dad." And he had one fight that was like serious because the guy picked on him. He was smaller than him. I don't know what's up with that. I mean, why would a smaller guy want to go up and start with a big dude? That cliche is so true. I've seen it in high school, a bunch of times. And it's weird. Who knows? Well, we've rambled on. I'm rambling into the toilet here. We're going to leave you now. We've had a quick, fun chat. And next week we have two excellent guests. And we'll see you soon. We got to get Dave Look back on. He was in the Hurricane Ground Zero down there.
Yes.
And last time I talked to him, he was on a dying phone. And I hope everybody down there is doing all right.
Yeah.
For all of our friends in North Carolina, our guitar player friend, oh gosh, Troubadour guy that we love. He sent me I've got to look at the paper. I'm drawing a brain fart. At any rate, he's one of our hundreds of guests that is really a great sport. He sent us a t-shirt.
Eric Summer?
Yeah, Eric, that's it. God, what a fucking animal I am. Sorry, thank you.
You're
Eric
I'm
Summers
glad.
lives down in Asheville, and so I'm
Yeah.
hoping, and we all are. I believe he was in Chicago at the time this happened. So, Eric, if you're out there and you happen to watch, sorry about it, but I admit it. I've got a bunch of names, and I look through our list, and I'm like, we got to call them back.
Neil
We'd
doesn't
have,
even
like,
know his own name. Don't worry about it.
No, I don't. It wanders. It just changes depending on what driver's license I have. Oh, not an animal. All right, people. Have a good one. Thank you,
Bye.
you guys, all for hanging in here. And I'm going to exit full screen so I can get us out of here. Take care, peeps. Next week is another week. Have a good weekend. And where the hell are the brand? See, this complete chaos. The show has turned into a terrible thing. Because the mind could be a terrible thing, people. Remember that. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.